This year's Portland Sunday Parkways season is kicking off this Sunday, May 17th. Presented by Kaiser Permanente, you can join your community in biking, walking, scooting, rolling, whatever, in car-free streets for 5 glorious hours starting at 11 a.m. And this time, it's in Southwest Portland. There'll be food, family-friendly activities, community booths, local vendors, and live entertainment for a 2-mile stretch, including Gabriel Park, Village Park, Multnomah Arts Center, Multnomah Village, and Spring Garden Park. For the full Sunday Parkway schedule, event information, and ways to get involved, head over to portland.gov/Sunday Parkways. That's portland.gov/Sunday Parkways. I know Portland takes pride in our DIY culture, but you don't always have to do it yourself. TaskRabbit has been helping Rose City residents for over a decade with everything from furniture assembly to minor home repairs. And their app is super easy to use, so you can quickly get paired with a list of skilled taskers in your neighborhood who've already been rated and reviewed. Plus, there's transparent pricing, so there are no surprises at checkout. Cross those nagging home to-dos off your list, enjoy your weekend, download the TaskRabbit app, or visit taskrabbit.com today. This is CityCast Portland. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about.
Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about new polling showing that more than 40% of people in the Portland area are considering moving away, and some new details on PPS's plans to retrofit its schools to be able to withstand an earthquake. Plus, we'll dig into our mailbag. I'm John Notarianni, in for Claudia Meza. Joining me today are Willamette Week reporter Brianna Wheeler and our very own senior producer, Giulia Fiaoni. How's it going, guys?
Hello. Good morning.
Brianna, I think this is the first time I've seen you since our live taping a couple weeks ago for 503 Day, where you got me to say things into a microphone that I have never said before and hope to never say again. So thank you for that.
There's a fabulous picture of us that someone posted on Instagram. I'm doubled over with laughter on stage, and the looks on your face, Claudia's face, and President Janie Dunphy's face, priceless. You would think that I'm about to get swept off the stage. I'm going to jail.
It was a riot. We put that show out in the feed a couple days ago. So if you missed it, go back and check it out. It's super fun. Yeah. Well, before we get into the show, I usually like to present our guests an opening question so the audience can get to know us all a little bit better. And today I am basing it on some reporting by Marty Smith, aka Dr. No from Willamette Week, about his trip to a strip club, Angels PDX on Southeast Foster. Why are we talking about this strip club? Well, it turns out that Oregonian and up until a few weeks ago, former U.S. Secretary of Labor Lori Chavez DeRemer allegedly took her staff there during a trip to Portland back in 2025. Chavez DeRemer resigned. There's a long list of accusations about her conduct in office. This is a quote from Marty. Chavez DeRemer is the first and so far only Trump cabinet member to be fired solely for being embarrassing.
God.
So you can dig into Marty, aka Dr. No's article in Willamette Week for all the details on what happened there and the strip club. But it brings me to my opening question. Guys, imagine that you are a bad boss. Strip clubs are taken off the table right now. But like, where else in Portland would you take your team for a very irresponsible outing?
Okay, I'm going first because I fear that my answer may be repeated. Yamhill Pub. Duh.
Oh,
nice. Come on. And I will say, if you've never had the privilege of going to the Yamhill Pub, it's the type of bar where every square inch is covered in some sort of a tag or sticker inside and out. I think it's probably, like, dare I say it, the worst bathroom in town.
Oh, easy.
And there really isn't seating inside. It's so small that there are like 4 bar stools and most folks just kind of spill out onto the street. It's a wild culture there. It's very punk. I used to go there somewhat regularly when I first moved here, which says something about my past. But yes, I can't imagine a meeting or any sort of team bonding happening there. I think it would be pretty hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Giulia, as your boss, I actually could see the circumstances where that actually happened. I think the next time we are all downtown, this is going to need to be something that just happens spontaneously.
Yeah, I would love to see that experiment through.
That's like the Portland litmus test. Have you blacked out at the Yamhill pub? If no, maybe you're not a Portlander for real.
Maybe you haven't lived.
You haven't lived here.
What about you, Brianna?
Oh, this is so easy. We're going to the Flight Lounge. We're going to the Weed Club. We're getting so baked that I'm getting fired. Unless I'm like in charge of weed federally. If that ever happens. I could never be a bad boss, though. This is me being like an awesome boss. Let's just all go get super fucking stoned. That's a bad boss to whomst. I
see
Sounds like
that.
good bossing to me. Yeah.
Well, so does the Yamhill pub, I mean, honestly.
Yeah. My take, Giulia, I'm taking the team out. We're all getting CityCast Portland tattoos. And I'm not talking about like hidden tattoos. I'm talking about like neck tattoos. Like we're going to get them to like promote this show. Everybody's going to know who we are. So get ready. It's coming up. That's my move.
Whoa.
Opt out, Giulia.
That's hardcore. That's more hardcore than the Yamhill pub, I have to say. You have me beat.
All right. It's coming up. I'll put it on the calendar. All right. Thanks so much, you guys, for walking through that with me and sharing your ideas. We are all getting fired from our jobs. But before that, on to the news of the week. I wanted to talk about a new poll that shows a lot of people are unhappy with the state of Portland and the metro area. This comes from DHM Research that conducted the poll for the Oregonian. And I'm working on some reporting, a story by Matthew Kish, who's a reporter there. So DHM Research periodically does these polls of the metro area. This time they got to 600 registered voters between April 23rd and April 30th. One of the questions they asked, are you considering moving out of Clackamas, Multnomah, or Washington County in the next 5 years? 36% of voters in the Portland metro area are considering moving within the next 5 years, according to this poll. 41% of Portlanders said, yes, I'm interested in moving away in the next 5 years. And they got into some of the reasons for it. The top reason across the survey, they said taxes. 62% of people in the metro area said that taxes was one of their top two reasons that they wanted to leave. In Portland, 55% said taxes. The number that said it was a number one issue was way smaller, like 11%. But that's up from like 3% not too long ago. So a lot of frustration about taxes, mentions of utility costs, pressures for people on fixed income. After that, they just cited housing as well as public safety as like some of the discontents that people are facing that is making them want to leave the area. So, a lot of people unhappy with taxes in Portland. What do you guys think beyond
So I had read in the Oregonian about Tina Kotek's popularity cratering. Did anybody mention that as a reason for wanting to leave Portland, or is that even a part of this conversation?
There was discussion of like dissatisfaction with government, frustrations with like public safety, and like frustration with local government. It's like in the like third to fourth issue range. So yeah, I mean, that definitely is a part of it. People express frustration with homelessness and crime and dissatisfaction with local government performance. But I mean, this was sort of specifically on the metro area. And they didn't say that they want to leave Portland and move to another part of the region because they're mad at Tina Kotek. Although there was a very high percentage of people that said that if they leave, they're not just moving within the region. They're going to be going to like another state entirely.
Oh, really?
As well.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, I think you can read it as just a pretty broad, I am fucking frustrated with everything right now.
Yeah.
They did go out of their way to say, like, this doesn't mean that people are actually going to leave. This is just sort of like their knee-jerk reaction when they fill out a survey. But yeah, I mean, I think like frustration with local government and the way that taxes are spent and applied is sort of woven through all of this as well.
Honestly, just to get a little real right now about what first thoughts come to mind when I hear this, I think about myself personally and the longevity of living in Portland as a young person. So I'm in my late 20s. I'm thinking about, can I actually see this through beyond this point in my life? Because I picture trying to have a family here and sending my kids through the public education system, and how much that has been a real focal point and how it's lacking for students, and how at this point it feels so frustrating to be taxed as much as we are, either on the state level or the county level, and have that be an outcome, right? That's one of many examples. So I understand that, right? I could see folks looking down the line, whether they're at a retirement phase or a point where they're looking forward to owning a home and growing a family here, and thinking, maybe this city isn't good for me long term. Maybe the city can't grow with me, which is a really scary thought, because what makes a city great is the diversity of perspectives of people at different points in their life that come together to make it all work. And this can't just be a city that works for people in their late 20s that don't have a family, or people that don't rely on services to help them through retirement years. Right now, it really does deeply concern me.
Yeah. I actually literally had a very similar conversation with a friend last night. We got together, somebody who I hadn't seen in a bit, and he was saying, like, look, I've been with my partner for like many years, but the economics of raising a kid in Portland right now with what I'm making just don't really add up. Yep. And he's saying, like, that's not the only reason, but like that is definitely a huge consideration of like the affordability of just being able to thrive and like raise a child here. Brianna, you're of the three of us, you're the one who's making it work. How does it feel?
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't say that. That is a stretch, but thank you. I will take that as a compliment. No, I definitely understand. I feel that intensely too. And it's something that I do struggle with it every day, because I am so committed to this city. I feel like this city is part of my DNA and vice versa. But every day I wake up and I think sometimes I feel like I'm subjecting my family to it, because I'm so locked in career-wise, socially. But like it's a fight every day of like, damn, I'm asking myself the same questions that Giulia is asking. Like, how much longer can we do this? Honestly, because I moved up here when I was 26, 27, and it was perfect. I was like, this city is made for me. 20 years later, I'm saying, I don't know if the city's made for me anymore. However, I really feel like I had my fingers in it for so long that what it is now, I helped build. So this dichotomy is very like, ugh, gross, barf, hateful.
Yeah. The other thing that when you sort of dig into this survey data that I think is really interesting and like kind of a silver lining, and again, these are like just perceptions of somebody who got a survey. This isn't related to like statistics or like actual things that are going on, just how people feel about their region. People are rating homelessness as less of a problem than they did a year ago. 33% of people picked homelessness as the top concern. Last year, it was at 48%. Just 4% of people in Portland list crime and safety as their top concern. That's down from 15% in 2024. So some of these issues, things that we've been discussing as like the chronic issues of life in Portland, the concern for those is dropping. It just so happens that when those drop, at the same time, concern about taxes and cost of living are rising to the forefront. So there is a way that you could sort of paint this as, like, if you really want to put on your like big time rose colored glasses, you can say people are less worried about crime. People are less worried about houselessness. So in that scenario, the sort of age old pocketbook issues are rising to the surface. If you wanted to be an optimist, you can sort of put that out there. Just sort of putting that out there for you guys. Do you feel better?
Yay.
That really did stick with me too. And I'll share this very quickly, but it reminded me of a moment that I shared with my parents who visited a few weeks ago after not visiting for a few years. And all they could say the entire time was like, wow, this area is cleaned up so much. Things are thriving. This park is amazing. And it made me stop to think like, yeah, wow, like we've really made a lot of progress on these very specific issues that makes Portland visibly feel more welcoming, more livable. But that doesn't mean the strain isn't being placed on the folks that are living here, that are really putting their identity in it, building it, making it what it is. And I think we're at a moment where we're trying to find the balance between how much we can depend on each other to make that happen when it comes to taxes and what that looks like, sticking with it and seeing it out over the next decade. But it was a memorable interaction, and one that I come back to a lot when I hear about these polls and think more about our city broadly.
Yeah. Well said. All right, let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, more news of the week.
Did you know May is National Bike Month? And it's Oregon, so of course we have a ton of ways you can celebrate. Like this Friday, May 15th, is the official Bike to Work Day. And the Oregon Department of Transportation wants you to stay safe out there. So if you haven't been on your bike for a couple of seasons or are new to the area, get reacquainted with our local traffic laws. Bicyclists follow the same rules as motorists. Remember to remain alert, always wear a helmet, use lights, and wear bright reflective clothing, especially for night riding. And if you don't know your bike hand signals, learn them. They keep you and everyone on the road safe, including other riders. For more tips on how to stay safe and more on statewide events, head over to OregonBikeWalk.org. That's www.OregonBikeWalk.org.
When the unexpected happens, a serious injury, a catastrophic crash, or even a wrongful death, the impact isn't just personal. It can affect families, neighborhoods, and the safety of our entire community. In those moments, you deserve more than legal help. You deserve advocates committed to making Portland safer for everyone. At Diamore Law Group, you're not just getting a lawyer. You're getting a trial team led by veteran attorney Tom Diamore, who has spent over 30 years holding corporations, negligent drivers, and unsafe institutions accountable. From investigating what went wrong to bringing in experts and taking cases all the way to trial, they do the work it takes to protect their clients and prevent the next tragedy. And you don't pay unless they win. Contact Diamore Law Group at 503-222-6333 or visit Diamore Law to schedule a free consultation. They're here to stand up for individuals and for a safer Portland. All right, Brianna, you are bringing us a story about PPS, and this is one that I have a lot of questions about and like a lot of ambivalence about. Yeah, I'm really interested in this. Let's get into it. What are you talking about today?
Tell me you don't have kids without telling me you don't have kids. So this is reporting from homegirl Joanna Howe over at WW, and this is concerning just how safe does the district expect schools to be in an earthquake, right? Because we've got all of these retrofittings happening all across the city, all of the schools under construction, and the whole point is to get in front of this earthquake that is probably going to happen because we live in this zone and it's going to take us all out. And we've got these ancient schoolhouses that are absolutely going to crumble if anything happens, right? So we've got all of these seismic retrofitting projects happening across K-8 schools. There's an April 29th meeting of the Portland Public School established Volunteer Citizens Bond Accountability Committee, and they're providing this very explicit insight into the district schools for how safe these buildings will be, which is very needed because in my mind, I was thinking that these retrofits would keep the schools intact if there was like a devastating earthquake, that the schools would remain standing, that they would be community centers, they would become third spaces for all of us. That's not necessarily the case, right? So this is the article that kind of breaks that out. So they selected 9 schools for seismic retrofits. And these were all buildings that were at high risk of straight up collapsing on children during an earthquake. They passed over some buildings that were just going to be straight up too expensive to renovate. So there's a committee member, Jonathan Trutt, and he asks, do we have a metric of safety that's going to stay consistent across all of these completed projects? Is the main mission to give students a safe building? Or is the main mission to give students a safe path out of buildings? This was kind of a revelatory moment for me in reading this, is that, oh snap, we're not aiming to save these buildings. We're aiming to save egress from these buildings when something happens, right? So the bare minimum is that we move the retrofitted buildings from risk category 2 to risk category 3. These are risk categories based on classifications from the American Society of Civil Engineers. It's 4 categories. Number 1, low risk. So like a barn, a storage facility. Number 2, this is most buildings. This is residential buildings, commercial, retail. Risk 3, structures that pose substantial risk to human life if they fail. Schools, theaters, lecture halls, assembly areas. And then risk category 4 is essential facilities, right? Hospitals, fire stations, police stations, power plants. Risk category 2 is where the bulk of our school buildings sit. But the standard for school buildings under the civil engineers landscape is that they should fall under risk category 3. That is the representing substantial hazard to human life in event of failure. That's according to International Building Code. So the general intention is that there are clear, safe paths out in the event of an emergency, in the event of an earthquake. But it turns out a lot of these buildings, they're probably going to end up in risk 4, depending on a combination of factors, right? In the event of an emergency, they might not be fully functional, as in like they have equipment up and running, but the intention is that you can house people there as an emergency shelter. So I'm talking about that third space moment, that they need to keep these buildings semi-operational so that they can be somewhat occupiable. So if the district receives grant dollars from Oregon's Seismic Rehabilitation Grant Program for either of the 2 worst schools that were submitted, that might require buildings to be upgraded to Tier 4, right? Yeah, and there's like additional cost details that come more apparent, but they're all preliminary. The early cost estimate of retrofitting work at like Beverly Cleary, it came in lower than they expected at a scant $20 million. Just a drop in the bucket, right? But they're hoping to receive grant funding up to $2.5 million per project. Yeah. And those 2 schools that are like bad, it's Beverly Cleary and Ainsworth.
Yeah. And let me specify what I said at the beginning about my like ambivalence is not that I'm in the space of like, should we smash schools or should we not smash
them
schools?
Kids. Yes. No, I am anti smashing children on the record with that. But I had never really thought about the tiers of seismic retrofitting, right,
and what they mean, you know?
Right.
And I think, I'm sure a lot of people who are just sort of like laymen are like, well, they're going to fix the building and it's going to be perfect. And like,
exactly.
And then we're good. But like, of course, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, you can create a building that is safe enough that it is not going to collapse and kill people. And that like absolutely is the number one most important thing that needs to happen yesterday. But I'm so ambivalent about this difference between class 3 and class 4. Like, what would happen to a category 3 building that doesn't happen to a category 4 building, right? Like, are we talking about the electrical lines get cut? You know what I mean? I totally understand why there needs to be a hospital that like cannot go offline no matter what, even for a moment. And that is great. But like these schools, I am so ambivalent about like, I want to do whatever we can to make them as safe as humanly possible as soon as we can. But I'm also feeling what I think you're feeling, Brianna, which is sort of like, really? Like, we're okay with this? Yeah. So that's where my ambivalence sits.
It is like a strange bit of push and pull because it asks us as the constituents to think what an essential facility is and really like sit with that and meditate on it.
I was thinking through the same tension, but ultimately coming down to believing that it's worth the investment. Yeah. Because already right now, because of the state of things socioeconomically, people are relying on schools as a community hub outside of a place to take their kids. People are showing up there for food pantries. Yep. People are going to receive assistance if they are within families that are immigrating here and don't speak English as a first language. There are so many resources coming out of schools right now that it feels like an automatic solution and a place for people to go to seek help when that happens. It's going to become an even more essential community hub. And if you think about it, the way that schools are placed in neighborhoods, it's like they're put there so that everybody is within walking distance to some degree to some school so that they could receive help. Hospitals are not like that. Firehouses are not like that. They're not as abundant. So may as well take advantage of the opportunity to set ourselves up right for that time. Right. It feels strange because you're up against time to just get it done. And I'm sure it would take a lot longer to get these buildings to a point where they are as safe as hospitals. But at the same time, it's like, if we're going to do it, let's do it big, you know?
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's time, but it's also funding. I mean, and something that, you know, I hate to sort of like make this into a question about money, but like, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I do remember a recent report that said that there are like dozens, if not more schools in the Portland metro area that are at risk of serious damage during an earthquake. And we just had this huge bond measure that passed like last year, I think it was. And that's going to provide funding for 9 schools.
Only 9,
you know? So there also is this question of like, how far do we stretch the dollar to make as many schools as safe as possible as we can, which is, again, brutal math, but something that I think we need to consider in this conversation too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's easier to do that math once you shift that frame of reference from school to community center.
For sure. Yeah.
It is a community center. It has to be looked at it like Giulia's saying. That's where we're finding our resources, that third space moment.
Yeah. Well, Brianna, thank you so much for breaking this down for us. This is fascinating stuff. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, it's time for the mailbag. Yeah.
Woohoo.
Woo!
Giulia, you have prepared the mailbag for us today. What have you brought us? What have you brought for the class?
Yes. So these are notes from our listeners, and I'm going to start with a couple of notes in response to last week's episode talking about Waymo self-driving cars coming to Portland. So here's the first one. I was interested to hear your reactions to the idea of Waymo self-driving cars coming to Portland. I'm 72 years old and a very cautious driver. My husband and I rode in Waymos in San Francisco while we were visiting my son. For me, it was a weird feeling at first to see the driver's seat empty and steering wheel turning itself. I had expected to feel a little scared, but instead I felt very safe. The Waymo cars accelerated and decelerated very gradually and obeyed all traffic rules. The alternative ride for us was a human, Uber or Lyft drivers. In my experience, that's scarier since they often drive like maniacs and bend rules as their company's business model incentivizes them to do so. I think your piece raised some valid issues like accommodations for disabled riders, and it would be interesting to research how the Waymo programming takes account of these things like bridges, which you express concern about. But I'd say give them a try before you decide what you think. Happy CityCast member, H. The Waymo debate.
So my take on the Waymo debate is like, you think the four-way stops in Portland are slow now? Like, you put a Waymo in there, you're just going to live at that four-way stop sign intersection. Like, nobody is moving for 2 hours.
Yeah, I was impressed by this take, especially, I mean, they said their age, 72 years old. I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it a go, but also still so skeptical that it'll be my right of choice.
Oh, totally.
I mean, you know, I do feel like sometimes Uber and Lyfts are a bit of a roll of the dice. I have gotten into some edgy conversations with people who like really wanted to talk politics in recent years. That hasn't been my favorite.
Yeah. And here's another note too, surprisingly, in support of Waymo. Here we go. This is from Brian H. Waymo uses LiDAR, radar cameras, audio sensors. Tesla self-drive uses cameras, but they have reaction times much faster than humans. Humans only use their eyes, just as feeble as Tesla, and their reaction times are slow. Humans and Teslas will hit bikers in the rain and at night. You want Waymo, bikers want Waymo. I mean, please. Which I'm so surprised to hear these supportive Waymo takes coming from Portlanders. It's like really an interesting edge. And I get the idea of if it was prioritized, if bikers at night were prioritized as something for Waymos to be able to handle really well, that would be really cool. I just don't trust that that's actually happening. I don't think the folks that are like pushing those buttons are making that a priority. Maybe I'm too skeptical, but that's my take on that.
You earned it. You earned your right to be skeptical of this madness.
Thank you.
Yeah. I can't imagine not getting hit by one of those things. It's just, okay, I get that they have like supplied us with data. Like, oh, we never have crashes. We do this, we do that. Who's supplying the data? Is it them? Because they could be saying anything to us. Where's the outside entity that is auditing the shit that they're saying to us? Because they could tell us it's the safest shit in the world and we just have to believe it because they said? That sounds crazy. Sorry to use crazy in the pejorative, but.
So real. Okay, moving on from Waymos, I have another one here that's in response to our guide to the month of May, which you both were on, giving your picks earlier this month. Number one, another Portland bathroom worthy of attention is at the very amazing bar Sad Valley on North Killingsworth. One has a signed photo of John Waters with a plaque stating that it was donated with the express understanding that it was to be put on display in the least attractive bathroom in the building, which ironically makes it one of the best bathrooms in the building. And this was in response to John's pick of going and checking out the bathroom at G-Love, the restaurant in the Pearl District. Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but I did ask a friend who recently went to G-Love and I was like, did you hit that bathroom? And they were like, that place is a nightmare.
I am just so pleased that I am like expanding the civic conversation. I don't know how this ended up being like my corner of coverage of like documenting the best bathrooms in Portland. I believe I use the bathroom just as frequently as any other citizen, but I'm just like so happy that I'm opening up this place for us to all share and like really discuss the important issues. Yeah.
I love it. And I want to say they did add a number 2 to their note. This is the same note from listener Gray J. This one says, I am not a pea scientist, but I have also heard that smelly urine after eating asparagus is genetic. That's a note for you, John.
This is really casting me in a certain light. Are we related? Every comment I receive is somehow about urine or bathrooms.
That's a funny theme. I will say this was because John was encouraging all of us to enjoy asparagus right now because it is the best springtime veggie, but it also involves possibly, if your genetic code leads to this outcome, some smelly urine, which John says that's not the case for him. So to be continued, but nobody's actually confirmed fully scientifically if that's true. But anyway, moving on to one more note. In response to a conversation from a few weeks ago about more In-N-Out locations opening up near Portland, the most recent one was in Vancouver, Washington. Scott H. from Centennial said, loved your discussion of the creeping In-N-Out burger phenomenon here in Oregon. In particular, I enjoyed Giulia's explanation of how to order. Thank you. The whole discussion got me thinking about the name In-N-Out Burger. Based on the lines I've seen wrapping around these locations, you really aren't getting in and out quickly. But then I thought maybe the in and out of In-N-Out Burger is really referring to the in group of people who know how to order and the out group of people who have never been. I'm in the latter, and I must admit I'm skeptical of these burgers, especially seeing that line, but maybe I'll try it someday. I love this take.
My brain is blown, Scott H., with your insights into In-N-Out Burger.
Damn, homeboy thought about that too much.
I feel so seen with this one because I really tried to imagine that segment being helpful to folks that really don't know much about the secret menu, which is the whole point in going there.
Totally.
But yes, thank you, Scott H. I feel seen, and I am validating that your take feels very real to me.
So with that, that does mean that like all of the CityCast listenership is now in the in.
Yes.
Of In-N-Out.
All of you. You're in the in of the In-N-Out.
Congratulations. Welcome to the club.
What an honor. Y'all should feel so honored.
Awesome. Well, Giulia, thank you so much. What a delightful mailbag. This is a fun one.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And yeah, thanks to both of you for chewing on the news of the week and hanging out with me. It's always a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
That's all for us today here on CityCast Portland, but thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate, or leave us a review? And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast neighbor. Just visit membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.